What's up, guys? Well, when it rains, it pours. And unfortunately, got some not so great news here for Jalen Carter. It's, I mean, obviously, you see the title there and everything else, but appreciate you guys. Drop a like on your way in. We need some positivity of any sorts. It's not the case for the Jalen Carter injury, and he's going to miss the Chargers game. There's more on that, and I can put it up here on the screen as well. If you've not seen it, we'll just jump right in. So, Jalen Carter, confirmed officially by Adam Schefter, initial report, and then other beat writers. But you see there, Jalen Carter is out for, actually there's a better picture for it, but Jalen Carter out for Monday night's game versus the Chargers after undergoing a procedure this past Monday on both his shoulders. Carter's now undergoing treatment on both shoulders and considered week to week in return. So, officially out for the Chargers. Not great news there. We were hoping to have, obviously, the bread man and the full complement of the defense. It's week to week at least. I do have a thought on a silver lining of sorts, some positivity here. This is not just, like I say, it is when it rains, it pours. And we have talked about, okay, the defense has been the only thing that's been somewhat holding serve. The Eagles gave up, I believe, math-wise, 898 rushing yards over the last two games, or total yards, over the last two games, and 400 rushing yards, something like that over the last two. So, yeah, defensively, it could be better. You asked a lot of the defense, but here's Jalen Carter. We've known that he's not right. He looks like a shell of himself. He talked about it. I covered it in the last video as well, and that was my speculation of like, man, it's got to be something more serious than what Jalen Carter is anybody's letting on, because he's not even close to a shell of the player that we know he can be. Now, early in the season, it was conditioning and more of that respect. But, yeah, shoulder's not right. Both shoulder surgeries week to week. It's kind of the same thing with Lane Johnson. He's expected to be back by the Raiders game, not this coming week, but next week. But, take your time if you need to. Yeah, we're in the thick of it. You got to have a playoff race now and get our act together to be able to win the division or make sure that we win the division. But, even for JC, I would be like, look, take the rest that you need, get 100%, don't rush it back with a shoulder injury. And, if we have to kind of limp into the playoffs personnel-wise, I think that we're going to be fine. So, it's Shakir, shell of himself is crazy. Y'all so dramatic. Bro, you got to be kidding me. If you don't think he wasn't a shell of himself this season, you are watching. But yes, no bread man, unfortunately. So we're wishing him a speedy recovery. Prayers for the recovery on the shoulder surgery, all the other for the Eagles. Andrew Makuba, we've not gotten an official update other than there's still the hope that he returns by the playoffs. So, again, some silver lining there. We'll get to some of the chat and everything else. But updating on that side. Before I do that, though, real quickly, because tonight is a big game in the sense of, if Dallas were to lose, we definitely Lions fans this evening. But if you're looking for a play, shout out to Underdog, one of the channel sponsors. Scan the QR code, use code Philly Special. $5 play gets you $100 in bonus funds. You can use that on any picks or plays that you want. In case you don't have anything for the game or you'd like to put a play down, I put together, just something else there. So feel free to copy. Use the link in the description, scan the QR code, like I say. But Dak Prescott, over 250. I do think that they're going to be in a nail-biter, but 250 passing yards. Jameson Williams should go off. Like 70 yards, you got to be kidding me. I'll take that all day. So 70 yards over on Jameson Williams. Montgomery, 60 yards rushing to go higher on. I think that's, yes, that's obviously kind of the risk in the stretch, but Dallas's run defense has not been good, not been as good in particular against the formations or the scheme, the style that the Lions run. Last year they got beat. The Cowboys did 47-9. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a blowout of sorts like that, but I do think that the Lions can run the ball on them. So I'm taking Montgomery. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdown. I mean, come on, the dude's a beast, and I expect him to bounce back after the way that the Packers game went out. So feel free to tell 14x multiplier, use code Philly Special, scan the QR code, shout out to Underdog, and all the other things that they've been supporting on with the giveaways, everything else. Make sure to sub, and there you go. So feel free to tell the plays. Other comments here, though, like we're getting into again. Jalen Carter has been, he's made a couple plays here and there. You look at the pressure rates, you look at the ability, you look at even taking a load off of other players. He said it himself, right? He said it himself. He's not the same type of player. But it's something that he's had to deal with. He's had to be able to kind of manage this with the shoulder expectations. So nobody's going to be 100%. Nobody's going to be even close to their normal talent and ability whenever they're banged up. I just think that it goes to show more than what we even see behind the scenes of now we've reached the point of a surgery. Like when someone gets banged up or injured, for an Andrew Makuba, for a Lane Johnson, those are guys, obviously going off the field and you see, okay, yeah, they got banged up. They got an injury there. For Jalen Carter, he's just gutting it out. He missed a game, but mostly gutting it out. And the combined with the conditioning maybe played a factor, but you saw the shoulder injury here, and I would have to imagine it has to go back to all the way to training camp. Jalen Carter had the shoulder injury at camp. He missed practices back then. So it's been a lingering issue. Finally reaches a point to say, look, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to do more damage. You probably look at the film and see, hey, you know what? You're trying your best. You're trying to make an impact, but we saw the run defense. And, it's not just Jalen Carter. A lot of guys getting moved off the line. But Jalen Carter getting moved 5-7 yards off the ball in plays and not being the game record that we've seen him be, you can tell it's not he's not the same player. So, you figure out, you just say, let's see if we can do something, get him ready for playoffs. Is it Ty Robinson time? Do you go out for somebody else? You have Byron Young, who played some more snaps. But you have some other guys that you try to fill in with. Jordan Davis is going to be asked more of, obviously, Moro Ojomo. Some people mentioning Brandon Graham. I mean, it depends on the front. Not that he can't do it. I don't think that he's your ultimate solution there. Certainly not long-term, but maybe on some spells here or there. But it's going to get interesting because a team that struggled to stop the run, and they're going to have to kind of double down from that side, and that's without Jalen Carter. So, again, for those people just joining, just hopping on, I'll share it again here, but just some more additional updates from that. Jeff McClain, Jalen Carter underwent the procedures on both shoulders, and will miss the Chargers game on Monday night. NFL sources confirmed timetable week to week, expected back at some point. And then Adam Schefter's report also. So it just currently, it could turn out to be a multi-week absence. So here's the thing. Right now, as you see there, he's being placed on injured reserve does not seem to be an option now. So that's a positive. Maybe it's a minor thing, get it cleaned up and only miss one game, potentially two. IR would constitute, the 4. So if it's just this one in the Raiders game, I don't think you need to rush it back for the Raiders, even if you were to lose to the Chargers. I mean, God forbid we do that. The Eagles are still the favorites on that. But, yeah, Zor saying Jordan Davis is ready for the moment. I hope so. I mean, he's played really well. But, yeah, I at this point, I'm like, JC, get your rest. Get back to 100% much as you can. And we'll see. Because, again, ultimately, like, if it probably hurts the defense a little bit because a guy like Jalen Carter. But offensively is the biggest concern. If this team doesn't figure it out, it's probably a moot point. It doesn't matter if Jalen Carter's 100% or not. Like, if offensively the Eagles don't get anything figured out, then it doesn't even matter. So, yeah. Thoughts on that? Curious for your takeaways? I'm going to see about having Anthony DiBona hop on from work, from the destination there. Shout out to the Ant-Man. Always putting in. But cheesesteak, don't say it's over. Hey now. Going with some Blast of the Past, some music there. But no, it's not over. I'm not giving up. Although I see the comments, like Corey, we are cooked. Is this the ultimate deciding factor? I mean, for me, it's not. Like, this is, like I say, offensively is the biggest issue and concern. It hurts you, but everyone's dealing with injuries. Justin Herbert, will he play? Seems like it's a positive sign If you watch NFL Network saying that the Chargers are optimistic that he will play, he's talking about it himself. Justin Herbert saying that, but it'll come down to the doctors. So we'll see. Michael put Vanilla Grill in. Sure, we need to see what Ty Robinson can do. He played a little bit. It was back in the Giants game, the first game. Now that was not the greatest, but Ty Robinson played then when Jalen Carter was out for that game. Had a couple plays. So you got to see what you have in Ty Robinson, and he has not gotten opportunities to get on the field. So yeah, it's time. JD and Moro Ojomo will carry most of the workload. But then, yeah, you got to figure out something beyond that. I will say, too, while we're on the topic of Eagles news and people asking again, we do have a couple updates as far as for, I guess, other defensively. And talked about this in the last video. But if you did not see this, I will share it here. So, Darius Slay. The thought was, right, so he was released by the Steelers, potentially available. Would the Eagles bring him back, or would they claim him on waivers? Seemed to be headed towards that direction. The signs were pretty evident. And then all of a sudden, we get the news that the Bills had claimed him. So it's like, oh, well, okay, there's all the thoughts on that are gone. No chance for Slay. So it turns out, as you can see on your screen, obviously now. But Slay informed the Bills he's contemplating retirement and not reporting. So, bro basically said it's Eagles or nobody. Made his stance pretty clear. And had talked about that in the last video. Some people going like, oh, hey, this is not possible. There's no way this is going to happen. He's gone to Buffalo. But it turns out that, yes, Slay... It's and as Jeff McClain had noted as well earlier, so there he says, that it was a possibility. Again, mutual interest from Slay and the Eagles. I would not be surprised now, because if you're Buffalo and you're sitting there like, okay, so we got a guy who is not going to show up. Yeah, technically they could just hold the rights and, strong arm say, okay, well, retire, then that's it. They could do that. They're not in the same conference. They're not in the same division, but heck, they're not even in the same conference. So I can't imagine they're going to go, yeah, we're going to hold on to it. In the past, veterans got to choose where they wanted to go. Obviously, this is the change from the past couple years of, or for this year, that veterans also being subjected to waivers following the trade deadline. So there's an impact on that. But, yeah, it feels like this thing's probably headed towards Slay eventually making his way to Philly. But we'll see. The saga is not over, and that's why I said before that. Kevin, Slay does not... He doesn't necessarily... I see your comments there. Slay does not really have a say in it, per se. No pun intended, weird saying there, but not really. I mean, he's doing as much as he can, right? So him contemplating retirement, which to me, that's bluffing. Like, he's just saying, like, hey, look, if you're going to keep me, I'm not playing for you. I'm not showing up. I'm definitely not showing up. So that's as big of a say as he gets. He cannot show up. Does he get to say, I'm back and available on the market? No. Like, he's got to wait for Buffalo to essentially release him because they're the team that claimed him. But once that were to happen, and I do expect that would, then, yeah, per Slay. That'd be better. Hoop Beast, I like that. Per Slay. Then, yes, at that point, the Eagles will have, you would imagine, I guess there could be another team, but the Eagles put in a claim for Slay. So it feels like this is headed to only one direction with, eventually Slay back in the midnight green as a CB2, maybe. I don't know if it's too a drastic help on the defense. I mean, he's not been near as good this season. New scheme, new change of scenery. I understand that. So he could find something again, but Notorious, wouldn't he need to rego the waivers? But again, then at that point, you're talking about the writing is on the wall. If he's doing this with Buffalo, the rest of the league can see it too. So you kind of just assume if he doesn't go to Buffalo, then all right, dude's going to Philly. K. Cooper, yes, he got claimed by the Bills, but I was just sharing that a second ago. Claimed by the Bills, he's not showing up. He told him he's not reporting. He's not going to play for him. He's contemplating retirement. He's bluffing retirement so that essentially they will let him go, and then the Eagles can get him. Yeah. So we'll see. I said it before that I was surprised initially of, well, I guess just the overall release, because of, if you look strictly at this season, not as big of a surprise for how he played to release him, because he was healthy and active. So then it's like, okay, the writing's on the wall there. But then once he got released, yeah, you it's common sense. Howie traded for a Jaire Alexander. If you trade for a Jaire Alexander and then, you're giving up draft capital, then Slay becomes available. Heck, that's a foregone conclusion. Yeah, Philly's going to be interested. Let's see, a couple other comments here. Yeah, this has been a weird season, to say the least. It has been a little bit of a strange season. Throw the Bills a 7th cheesesteak. That's not a bad idea. You can only imagine that the conversations going on between Howie and Brandon Beane. He's Michael. I know he's. I think he's joking. I think that's some sarcasm there. Not trading, obviously, with the trade deadline, but you do, something under the table, like, hey, draft night, we'll throw you a 7th. Maybe later in the works, but you get something else. Again, there could be other teams ahead of the Eagles. Yeah, I see the comment. Notorious again. Look, the writing is on the wall. Like, Slay would be there. Again, I'll get back to, we can discuss both of these topics here, but for those that are just joining, seeing some of the comments as well, Jalen Carter, not fully up to date on where things are at. So to share again, for people that are just tuning in, yes, Jalen Carter is out. He's out for Monday night's game for sure. Question of how long will he be out? Would it be the Raiders game? Will it be longer than that? Possibility for an IR stint. It doesn't sound like it, so there's some positivity. But, yeah, Jalen Carter, after having a procedure on both shoulders, not just one, both shoulders that he's been dealing with throughout the season, undergoing treatment, and considered week to week for the return. So who's it going to be? Call up Christian Wilkins. Yeah, there's look, I think they're going to roll with the guys they have on the roster. You have some practice squad players that may be elevated. You're going to have some other options there, but ultimately they're going to take it with, like, as we said, Jordan Davis, Mora Jomo, you're going to play more snaps, BG in a hybrid role. This shirt, Hoop Beast, was from the Eagles Pro Shop. Maybe Namdi will come out of retirement. Now we are cooked. If we're talking about that, oh my gosh. Gotten so far off the rails there. Fred, I would be shocked if we do not see, yes, Ty should be in this game, should be playing. It'd be crazy if we don't see Ty Robinson. A lot of inactives, a lot of healthy inactives for Ty Robinson. This should be the game. Get him out there. He's had plenty of time to get acclimated to the NFL speed. He hasn't had reps, so that is, certainly something that is going to play a factor. But he's had opportunities to practice and, get to that point. So I would expect for sure you're going to see Ty Robinson. Harrison, Ty Robinson breakout. It'd be nice. Yeah. Stuff the run game. Maybe a sack or two. Let's see. Who is Ty Robinson? Where'd he come from? I can't tell if, sarcasm is interesting, especially in chat. Is that sarcasm or is that a legit question? And I don't mean, I'm not being like funny there. I'm just curious because, a lot of people know the legend of the Vanilla Gorilla from the draft pick and the shorts and videos and everything else that we did. But I'm legit curious. So Yeah, Zora, if you don't mind letting me know, I can share more. But yes, Cheesesteak Ty was the Nebraska guy. Lowland Ty's a monster. He looked really good in college. I mean, he had some incredible plays, beating double teams. The main guy for Nebraska, nicknamed Vanilla Gorilla for a reason. So we give him all of the, you know, let's just say there was no shortage of hype, but whenever he was coming on to the Eagles, and then yet we have not seen him out there hardly at all. But lots of the guys talked about him even throughout training camp, the talent and ability that he has. So he will get his he will get his chance. Okay, Zor. No, I see that now. Okay, you're being serious, but yeah, Anthony DiBona. We're gonna try to do this, get him to join. So, not the usual setup. He was getting off of work, so let's see how this will play out. Let's see. This might be a little blast from the past, but there we go. We've got the man himself. What's up?
Hello there. How's the quality? Everything okay?
There we go. We can see you for right now. Yeah. I mean, hopefully the connection continues the way that it is right now. But at this point, it works out. And for OGs of the channel, I mean, this is how we used to do it. So, you know,
How it all started, baby.
in the car, this is pretty good. Yes, but appreciate you hopping on here. I mean, you're pulling double duty out there working. Is it? It's pretty cold, right? I mean, you're.
It's feels like low 20s, high teens. So
Oh, okay. Yep.
Listen, I'm a man of the people. I'm here for everybody.
Ant-Man is here. Eagles writer, the PhillySpecialShow.com. Should already be following him, but if you're not, at DiBona NFL. So, I mean, yeah, we were getting into, obviously, a couple different topics here, but Jalen Carter news that came out recently. Also Slay, which we can talk to in a bit as well. But Jalen Carter, again, for people that are just hopping on, joining, wondering what's going on, Jalen Carter officially out for the Chargers game. He had procedure in both shoulders, and Adam Schefter saying it's a week-to-week thing. As of right now, it's not IR consideration, but they'll monitor it throughout the next couple weeks, I would assume. Personally, for me, I mean, I saw that news and I was like, wow, it's kind of surprising because, wow, a procedure, he's going to be out, but then also, well, he's been dealing with shoulder injury because we've seen it and he's mentioned it. And then Vic Fangio says it, which tells you a lot because usually he tries to keep things under wraps, at least as far as injuries go. So I don't know. Like, do you want to rush him back? Like, part of me goes, yeah, I'm okay if we just say, like, I know we're in this rush or this race for NFC East and playoffs and all that, but get him 100%. I don't want to risk anything in jeopardy, rush it back. I feel kind of the same way about Lane Johnson and others, but thoughts on Jalen Carter news, the injury there?
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising to see him ruled out, but at the same time, it's like, as Vic Fangio talked about, that kind of feel like it kind of raised a little signal, like, oh, okay. Like, if he's saying something, we always talk about how honest Vic Fangio is, sometimes to a fault, but if he's mentioning how, like, that's really bothering him, clearly it's like you mentioned, it's something that he's been dealing with since training camp. He missed some training camp. He didn't he was listed multiple times on the injury report throughout the season with this shoulder issue. So it's not something new, but I think it's just a good thing that would have been better if he dealt with it obviously earlier in the season or maybe during training camp. That would have been better. But it seems like it was something like what they were trying to see if he could play through it. With the amount of snaps that he's playing, especially, that has to be factored in because he's playing nearly 100% of the snaps, like 90% or higher basically every game. So if they're going to keep relying on him at that high of a clip, he has to be fully healthy. So I think it makes sense for him to kind of undergo this now. If he has to miss the 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks, whatever it is, hopefully not an IR stint, but if he has to miss a couple of weeks, they have the other guys around him, and obviously Jordan Davis, Moro Ojimo, Byron Young. Maybe we'll finally see Ty Robinson play. I know a lot of people have been saying that he was a bust or why is he not playing more, whatever. So without Jalen Carter, he should at least be active. So I'm kind of interested to see how this group kind of rallies around that.
Yeah, and it does begs the question because we had several people that were asking us or mention this. Is it a Ty Robinson breakout game? Is that what we're looking to see here? I don't know. Don't know if I'm confident enough yet to maybe say that, but just start out with maybe a play or two, just help with the run game, the run defense. But yeah, like I don't know. And some people look there's obviously the speculation as well. Okay, a procedure. What does that mean? right? Like it's not a major surgery because that would for sure have been an IR stint and longer. Like hey, maybe there's a jeopardy of him even playing for the season. So it's nothing major, but it's still a procedure of sorts. And it makes me think back to honestly, like AJ Brown talking about he had the multiple procedures or things done for his knee and getting the fluid drained on almost like a weekly basis during their playoff run.
Yeah.
To the extent of like, yeah, they're kind of just managing these symptoms for Jalen Carter. So whatever it took, it finally reached a head where you're like, okay, we need to do something a little bit more drastic. Whatever the rehab that we've been doing, trying to manage, as you said, the amount of snaps that he's playing, what you ask from JC, especially in this defense, is kind of crazy, but he's also been a shell of himself. Like you can't honestly watch the tape. You can't honestly watch what JC's done this year and shown up on the plays that he does and compare it to last season and tell me that it's the same player. It's not even close to it. So yeah, I'm with a lot of the people that are like, okay, do what you need to. It's still probably something that they'll have to look at later on, right? When the season ends, there could be something else that then becomes, oh, now he did have a major surgery of sorts. This might be just better symptom management. But if it's to get him closer to 100%, like they said, and even Jalen Carter on Adam Schefter's report saying JC essentially wanted to make this play because it would help him get closer to 100% for the playoffs, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with this. But I also said this a second ago before you hopped on. The biggest issue still remains the offense, even without Jalen Carter. Like whether he's 100% or not, if the offense can't figure anything out, it's kind of a moot point of you having a healthy defense or you have guys banged up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it became more of a topic, the whole Jalen Carter injury thing, obviously because Vic Fangio brought it up, but also because of how Chicago ran all over them last week, right? So that now is like, that was everybody was like, whoa, what's going on, Jalen Carter? Like, is he fully healthy? Why are they struggling so much? Why is he getting blown off the ball? Like, we haven't seen, like, ever happen to him before. So, I mean, like I said, I think it's just good that he's going to get it done now. Hopefully he's not out for 3, 4 weeks. Hopefully it is just maybe just a 1 game thing. That would be great. But they also shouldn't rush him back because it feels like this stretch they're heading into also they should be able to at least stay afloat. I mean, obviously you want Jalen Carter on the field as much as possible, but if there was a game or two, it would be like the Raiders or the first game against the Commanders if Jaden Daniels isn't back. Obviously, you would want him against the Chargers, but that's clearly not going to happen. So we'll see what happens. But like you said, if the offense doesn't figure things out, all of this means nothing because even the whole Darius Slay conversation, which we'll probably get into, but I talked about how
Yes.
I tweeted out that everybody in the NovaCare complex is loving this Darius Slay drama right now because it's kind of distracted from all the storylines about Jalen Hurts' accountability and the Hard Knocks clip and can the offense fix it or should Kevin Patullo be demoted? Like now it's all about like, oh, is this potentially second cornerback going to change the Eagles season or is he going to come back? Like at the end of the day, I don't think getting Darius Slay or not getting him is the end of the world. Like it's going to make or break their season, but it's become like the biggest topic in Philadelphia.
Yes. And I'm right. Hey, if it's a distraction and it's a needed distraction to help us get off of some of the pressure and everything else there, maybe a road trip is the best thing that happens to this team. They can kind of get away a little bit and have their own bubble of sorts and figure things out in LA. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking for any sort of optimism, positivity. I did see that Adam Schefter, that this is not positive in terms of Eagles fans news. Not the Eagles directly, but indirectly. Amon-Ra St. Brown, not a big surprise, but didn't practice this week. Sounds like he's more realistic for return next week with the ankle injury that he was dealing with. So I don't think that's an official ruling out, but it's about as official as you can get without saying that he's ruled out from Schefter there. So the Lions without their top option, it would be great if they could go ahead and win tonight versus Dallas. Just do us a solid. I am not one of those people of the few I've seen saying, hey, a Dallas win might be a good thing for this Eagles to motivate them. I don't think they need more motivation. They're motivated to begin with. So we will still root for Dallas to lose at all costs, at all times. Dylan with a 5. Appreciate that. Why would they wait until Thursday to the surgery? All this talent on the D-line. I wonder why it's been so underwhelming in terms of sacks. Wait until Thursday to do the surgery. Maybe that was meant to be Monday because it said Monday, right? Monday procedure on the shoulders. I mean, I don't know. The game Friday, get treatment Saturday, assess where things are at. It got worse. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just
Uh, I also think the injury news maybe came out today because today is going to be actually the first time that the Eagles are practicing this week. It's going to be the first injury report that they actually put out. So now they obviously got ahead of it, where before people were going to be like, "Wait, why is Jalen Carter out, or why is he like not practicing? Like, what's going on?" But now you can kind of say,
Oh, I
"Listen,
see.
now
You're right. Okay, yeah. No, that's a good point. I was
maybe
I
that,
was thinking Dylan was saying why wait until Thursday for the surgery. Yeah, I see. I think he's saying to report the surgery. So that yeah, it makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, so they get the practice and the injury report and people going, "Oh, hey, by the way, he's not going to play."
yeah." So
That's
it seems like he underwent the actual procedure on Monday. It's being reported
yeah.
today, but
There you go.
probably to get a little bit ahead of the injury report that's going to be officially coming out later today.
There we go. Yep. See, that's why, that's why you're the best. You're on top of all this stuff. I was totally thrown for a loop because I'm like, I don't know what I thought it said Monday. But yes, the report itself. And this is also why Anthony has the tracker. So if you go to the phillyspecialshow.com, Anthony has the latest up to date injury reports. And of course, today is the first day that we will have injury updates. We'll also get them for tomorrow and Saturday because the game being Monday. But Anthony has you covered as far as injury statuses for both teams. We'll see about Justin Herbert. He's saying optimistically that he'll play. Sounds like Ian Rappaport was also echoing the same sentiment. Had the surgery, plate and screws in his hand. We'll keep you guys posted also for the game preview, but he doesn't need that hand to throw. We've seen Josh Allen have a similar injury. I think it was last year, and ended up being able to play. Some guys take some time. It's a big game. I would expect that he plays because he went back in for the second half against the Raiders when they didn't really need him. So we'll see. But if I had to guess, I think Herbert's playing.
Yeah, and it seems like something like that with the off, like the non-throwing hand injury, it usually more so impacts like the way that they hand off the ball because they were saying he had to utilize the other hand or like things like so. Like, but that stuff, especially with a week to prepare, you can kind of now call your run game differently. Have the running back on a different side, so he's able to just utilize his throwing hand instead of the offhand to hand the ball off, things like that. So, but also I'm sure Justin Herbert is very happy that Jalen Carter has been ruled out as well because now with that hand injury, he might have to undergo a little bit less pressure than he would have if Jalen Carter was in the game.
Just a bit. But he's never met the vanilla gorilla. So, and a lot of us Eagles fans haven't really too much either because he's not played a whole lot. But we're hopeful. It'd be really
I'd have to
nice.
dig up the one or two all 22 clips that I think I shared out earlier this
Yeah,
season of the handful of
a
snaps that he's played.
couple. Yes,
When he has played, he made a play here or there. But now
he
maybe
is.
will we see him play a little bit more snaps? Will maybe he just play 5 snaps? Who knows? But he should at least be active, so it's at least a start.
Yes, we were hyped for him whenever he got drafted, so we'll say that. There's still hope. It's just hard to see the field when you got a guy like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis playing the way he has, Moro Ojomo. But soccer star with a 2, appreciate the super chat there. Do you think this? Do you think with this injury they can even win? So going back to again, I've seen a few other people. Jalen Carter out against the Chargers Monday Night Football, had procedure on both shoulders. Reported by Adam Schefter, confirmed by a lot of other beat writers as well for the Eagles. Week to week, thankfully, it sounds like no IR, but we'll see week to week status there. But not going to be playing on Monday night. And as Soccer Star asked there, do you think that they could win even with the injury?
Yeah, I mean, I think they could still win. I think, like we mentioned before, I think the offense is really what needs to like carry the burden now. I mean, they needed to turn it around regardless, but now, especially without arguably your best defensive player, the offense is going to have to shoulder more of that load. But I also feel like Jalen Carter wasn't the Jalen Carter that we've become used to seeing this season. Like, to be completely honest, he was not taking over games. He wasn't becoming that All Pro that we like that potentially first team All Pro or Defensive Player of the Year. Like there was a lot of hype surrounding him heading into this season, and he fell short of that. And obviously, the shoulder injury or injuries played a factor. So maybe the defense will actually look slightly better with more Ojimo and Jordan Davis playing more snaps because Jordan Davis has been really, really good this year. And he plays a little bit less snaps because obviously of the presence of Jalen Carter. But maybe now we see more of him and more Ojimo where they just play a ton of snaps and we see just a little bit of Byron Young and Ty Robinson sprinkled in. So we'll see what happens because the Chargers also have another really good running game and they might be getting Omarion Hampton back, who's one of the best, if not the best, rookie running backs in the league. So we'll see. I think they definitely have more than enough talent to win. I know people get scared because of that game without Jalen Carter against the Giants was arguably the worst game of the season. So hopefully they don't see a
Yep.
repeat of that. But I still think they have more than enough talent to actually go out on the road and beat the Chargers.
If the offense will show up. It's kind of the same question that we ask ourselves time and time again, because you think back to it and say that the Eagles gave up what 281 rushing yards against Chicago. I said it at the start of the stream here, but I think it's like 898 total yards over the last two games that the Eagles have given up, but they've only allowed 24 points in both of those games. It's sure it's not incredible defense. It's not like, shut down where they're allowing 7 points, coming out of the bye week, but it's still 24 points. That's in the winning category if the offense can hold serve or, hold up its end of the bargain. And they've not done that in so many weeks. So, one game, could we get a 28-point game from the offense? A 30, God forbid we score over 30 points. It'd be phenomenal.
Whoa. Calm
So
down.
I know. It's crazy. It's extreme to even say that. I shouldn't, but just one game. They could hold serve, just do the defense a favor. But no, it's not impossible. It doesn't stop them from winning, but Soccer Star, I think, like everybody else is feeling at this point, we need to see something different rather than just hear it, or the thought of like, oh, hey, they can still turn their. They can. Everything is still in front of them, but they got to actually show us. So we will see there. As far as the other bit of news, because I know that people were wanting to discuss this, and again, in and out, but Jalen Carter out from Monday Night Football with the procedure on both shoulders. The other one that I shared a second ago, but I will again here, is that Slay is doing Slay things, basically. Darius Slay is, and I think I can share this on both of our screens. I might have to add you back here. Where did Anthony go? There he is. All right, now he's back. It works. This is on the fly here, so, and zooming in. Now we're good. Okay, so people can see this for the most part, unless you're on a phone. It's might be a little bit harder, but you probably can still see it. But yes, so Slay, I said this a second ago, but for the essential recap, the Bills claimed Slay off of waivers once he was released by the Steelers. The Eagles had also put in a claim, but the Bills had priority. So Buffalo, the thought was like, oh, well, he's going to Buffalo. That's it for people that, oh, we should have gotten Slay. But the story's not over. And as we shared last night on the video, courtesy of Jeff McClain, who said that he thought it was still a possibility that Slay refuses to go to Buffalo, that he's not going to show up, report, whatever. And then, 7, 8 hours, whatever it is later, Tom Pelissero reports that Slay informed the Bills he's contemplating retirement and he will not be reporting, which it's interesting, retirement didn't seem to be in play. And then all of a sudden, the cold of Buffalo and not going to Philly. And maybe I'm going to be retired here. So it's some gamesmanship by Slay to try to figure out a way to get back to Philly.
Yeah, this is just like when one of my kids, I asked him to do something, like, I don't want to. That's Darius. Like, I don't want to go to Buffalo. I want to go to Philadelphia. Like, my kids, like, I don't want chicken tenders. I want burgers. So it's like, I mean, I tweeted about it. Drew Rosenhaus is his agent, and if you think about just like sports agents as a whole, besides maybe like LeBron's agent, his Clutch, that whole group, besides them, maybe Nicole Lynn, like he's like right there in that top tier of like sports agents right now. So if Drew Rosenhaus says he wants something done, he's got. I know technically the Bills don't owe them any favors, and they don't have to release him or do an injury settlement or however they want to finagle this whole thing. Like they could just keep him on their roster and put him on like the reserve retired list or whatever, and just have him rot there if he's gonna like not play. But the thing that, like, in the grand scheme of things, Drew Rosenhaus represents a lot of really good players, and there's going to be negotiations with rookies or whatever in the future. Like, this is a big game that they have to play. So if the Bills don't do right by Darius Slay, maybe it would come back to bite them, where Drew Rosenhaus says, you know what, I'm not, and none of my clients are going to even entertain offers from the Bills, or none of my rookies are going to want to like just have him go somewhere else. So it's like there's so many different ways that this can go. I think ultimately they'll get his way. Darius Slay, who's contemplating retirement or however they want to phrase it,
Yeah.
he's going to eventually probably be granted his release, and they'll work things out. And he'll eventually probably go to the Eagles, would be my guess, because like I mentioned, when you deal with a lot of these powerful agents, that's what ends up happening. Because I joked last night, semi-joking, I said, how much money is Howie Roseman giving Bills GM
I
Brandon
saw
Beane
that.
under the
Yes.
table to have Darius Slay fail his physical? Now, this might be a different iteration of failing his physical. This could be a contemplating retirement or whatever. So like you said, it's all a negotiating tactic that is much bigger than just one player. That's like I said, because of the agents that are involved. So maybe a week or two from now, Darius Slay will finally be on the Eagles. But right now, the ball is kind of in the Bills' court. But I think we'll eventually see him back in Midnight Green.
Yeah, as Cheesesteak said, I'd throw a temper tantrum too before going to Buffalo. So, there's other reasons for not going, but I'm in total agreement. It just seems like as I said a second ago too, before you joined, but the writing's on the wall for that one. It's just so blatantly obvious because how quickly it will happen. As soon as we get the update or the news is that Buffalo has released him. They've released the rights. They're moving on, whatever, and oh, Slay's no longer considering retirement. How magical that is. It's like not even a factor on that side. So, yeah. And also, as Fred says, Rosenhaus talks, people listen, too many clients. So, yes, in tandem with Anthony's
But
argument there, that's
just one
something to
more thing.
play.
The weird thing is like usually, especially this late in the season where everybody's subject to waivers, it feels like the agents usually put that out there. I know they teams can't officially talk to the players, but usually the agents will be like, listen, we like you want him to go to a certain place, like don't put in a claim. Like there'll be some type of communication where that they put out there. So I don't know if the Bills did this like to spite the Eagles because they couldn't get the tush push band or like who knows. There could be a lot of theories that go into this.
Yet they
But it's
run it
just like
more than the Eagles do. But yes, I
yeah,
mean,
that's a whole other story. But yeah, it's just weird like, because it seems like usually teams, especially with an agent like with this much power, they would just do right by the player and let him go wherever they go. It's not like they're in the same conference, like sure they play each other one time like in these final 5 games, but like I don't think in the grand scheme of things, I don't even think he's really a good scheme fit for the Bills either. So I don't know. It seems odd. Maybe it's just them being petty, but I think he'll still end up with the Eagles somehow, some way.
yeah, it's he hasn't had a good year at all. We've talked about that too. I mean, passer rating wise, what he's given up. It doesn't hurt anything though because Jair Alexander was brought in, and if Howie was willing to make that move and gamble, then sure, what the heck, bring back a guy who's familiar with the Eagles system and add some depth. But I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not like, oh, there's your answer for even if the pass defense had been bad, but it hasn't really. Like you go back and look at the numbers. Yeah, they've had their spurts of giving up some points and the Dallas comeback and all that. But even that game included, the Eagles are like one of the lowest in the NFL of completion percentage allowed. They've got the second fewest amount of passing touchdowns allowed. They're one of the most difficult teams to throw against in terms of defensive EPA. So, like, everything pass defense has been solid, and that's without getting a lot of sacks. Like, their sack total numbers are low. So, overall, look at the secondary, and I'm not saying as maybe other seasons you could go back and go, oh man, we really need to get somebody to shore up the secondary because it's being torched. It's not. It's been the run defense, as we were talking about with the Jalen Carter injury, and that impacting even more so now. But like the run defense giving up way too much, 4.5 yards a carry or more in several of the games. They kind of figured things out coming off the bye week, but now sometimes it takes a little while, I feel like, to get the full picture on a bunch of different areas. But I think especially with the run defense, you see the Jalen Carter news, and it adds up to a certain extent because it's like, okay, they got thrashed before the bye week, got a little bit better, but then and Jalen Carter rested for game 2, bye week, guys get healthier, refreshed. Jalen Phillips added to the mix. Jalen Carter feeling better coming off the bye. And they hold serve for a couple games. But then you saw that run defense start getting a little bit shakier, and then, the floodgates opened because the defense is on the field for a ridiculously high amount of plays, combined with you have guys banged up like Jalen Carter, who's supposed to be anchoring the middle of your defense. And when he's getting moved 7 yards off the ball, we watch the film or the different breakdowns and everything else, you're like, that's not the JC I know. That's not the bread man. That's some scrub who's getting pushed aside because he would even admit, like if he were to watch that, there's no way he would look at that and go, yeah, that's me. Like that's the standard that I have for myself. But the procedures on the shoulders, why Jalen Carter is going to be out for Monday night, and they can still win. We'll see. It ultimately comes down to the offense. Green Wingman though with a 20 bomb. Appreciate that. The 20 Thank you guys. Green Wing Man, appreciate that one. Big time says if there's anything to hope for as an Eagles fan, just get this team healthy and pray that offense can figure something out. This season has had so much parity that I'm not concerned. That I am not concerned about the team's playoff standings.
Yeah, it's been such a weird season, right? Where like it seems like every week there's a new top dog in the NFC, and then like they suffer the weirdest loss, like when the Rams lost to the Panthers, right? It's like the Rams are so good, they're the class of the NFC, they're gonna easily win the conference, and then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and they struggled against the Panthers and ultimately lost. So it's like right when you think a team is untouchable and they're trending in the right direction, they're on fire, they kind of get like knocked back down to reality. So that's why I still kind of, I know I talk about it all the time, but I still try and maintain that like glass half full, like optimistic outlook because in the grand scheme of things, I know we all focus on the Eagles. Like we're hyper focused on this one team. But if you just step back and look around the NFL, there hasn't been any team like around the entire league that's just been downright dominant all year long. Every team has kind of had that roller coaster, and the Eagles have had different reasons for their struggles, and it's kind of crazy because they are 8-4 after all, and they do have a relatively easy schedule considering what they've been through so far. Yeah, they have now the Jalen Carter injury, the Lane Johnson injury, but they're 8-4 with the offense being as bad as it has been, where they still don't have an identity. We're in week 14, where like, what is this team? Even though they just won a Super Bowl, so it's like the guy mentioned, he said, just get healthy and then we'll see what happens, right? Like let the chips fall where they
Yeah.
may, because all that matters is getting to the playoffs, and then it's one game. You don't know what's going to happen. Like you have a chance, and I feel like if the Eagles are fully healthy, they have a chance against anybody. I don't think there's a clear disparity between them and any other team in the NFL as a whole, let alone the NFC.
Yeah, we were talking about that offline, texting and just in our podcast of, like even if the Eagles were to play the Rams, and this was before the Rams lost to the Panthers, but we are going like the Eagles, they need to prove it, sure, but it's like there's still not a realm of, I don't know, impossibility, I guess, where you would go, there's just no chance for them to beat the Rams. There's no chance, because they did. They did beat the Rams as poorly as they played in the first half, and they were able to come back and beat them in the second half. So, when push comes to shove, sometimes you have a team's number. Sometimes there's a little bit extra get up for the game. Maybe this is the case of like, yeah, they need to get guys healthier. We would have wondered or thought like, do you just rest some of the offensive linemen as well? Because it's not just, with the Jalen Carter injury or some of the other guys, we've seen players not playing up to their standard. But with the way things are, I'm right there with you. Like the Carolina Panthers, they can look like a terrible, awful team from 2024 playing against the San Francisco 49ers one week. And then the very next week, they can go and run for 250 yards against the Rams and end up winning a shootout, basically a 31-28 game. And you're like, there's no way. If there was any way they were going to win, it was going to be a lower scoring affair. And sure, Stafford, he threw some picks and had some turnovers, but ultimately, yeah, they still lost a game that you're going there. That's impossible. That seems crazy. And the ridiculous thing too is, I mean, if you're looking at these games coming up this week, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Dallas loses to the Lions, if the Bears get beat by the Packers. So there's, two big ramifications too within the division. You see some of the other games across the league that, yeah, okay, like teams favorited by a decent amount, but we've seen some of these other upsets. The Rams were, I think, was it 11-point favorites over the Panthers, and they still lost. So I don't know. It's got to be one of the wildest seasons of the NFL because of that parity and because of it's just any given Sunday. And I don't know exactly what it is. There's sure some injuries that have played a factor. And I know that there's, I don't know, it's like a small group that'll go, yeah, but there's like the calls and everything. It happens every year. Like there's bad calls every year, one way or the other. But this season, even outside of all that, it's like, it's madness every single week and the unpredictability. So the only thing predictable is the Eagles offense. But the NFL as a whole is unpredictable. So,
well, hopefully they'll change that this week. I don't know. I'm a little bit. I
we
mean, we'll
could
get
use
into it
it.
obviously in our game preview video that we'll do a little later this week. But I'm probably a little bit more optimistic than I should be, given what this team has shown in recent weeks. But Monday night will surely be interesting.
Okay, I like that. We need some optimism, so we will certainly take that. But appreciate you hopping on double duty, working in the car, the OG. For people, again, it's a blast from the past, but this is how we used to record. And people wondered if Anthony had a home, if he was, he had anywhere to go. The dude's just sleeping in his car and recording, but he does, in fact, have a home. And so probably the next time on the recording will be from that location.
The game preview will definitely be from your house, okay? I promise you that.
Yes, but for breaking news, obviously, hop on live. So make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and again, just a final recap for people hopping on. You can rewind it to watch the full consensus and everything. But Jalen Carter is out for Monday night, procedure on both shoulders. Week to week outside of that, we'll see if he gets on the IR or not. But for one game, for sure. And then Slay, all signs are pointing towards a return to Philly at some point. The Bills claimed him, but he's not showing up. And contemplating retirement, but that'll go away as soon as if and when the Bills release those rights. So just stay tuned. More videos, more content, everything else, the PhillySpecialShow.com. Appreciate you guys as always, and we'll see you. Go Birds.
Go Birds.